The following presentation is rated TVMA.
Woohoo. Hello.
Hey!
How we doing?
Good. Good. You?
Good. All right. Welcome back to Sluts for Smut. We've been gone for a while. But we're back.
Just a day or two.
And we're back with a new host.
We are. We're back with a new host. And she is a paranormal virgin.
Yes.
Up until now.
Way to lead off with that.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I popped her cherry. I'm super excited.
These books definitely went on the whole jumping into the book series. So
we are minus Nixie, but Nixie will be back our next show.
Yep, next week. Mm-hmm. We miss her until then.
Not next week. 2 weeks from now. Every other week. From now on, we're going to be on every other week. But yeah, let's. We're going to do the first 3 books of the Shadow Beast Shifter series tonight.
And I think this was a good series for her to come in on because of the slow build to complete pornography. Like, it doesn't jump right into it in the first book. It slowly builds as you go through the books until, like, you get to book 3. And I think that for her, that was kind of the best way to burst her cherry, like, into the paranormal romance kind of books. I hope we have Miss Sapphire addicted now, but we shall see.
Easy now, fuzzy little man Peach.
definitely say it was an experience with these books because at the beginning it was very much about the action and who Mara was and jumping into everything was very nicely and slowly built versus just jumping straight into everybody taking their shirt off.
Yeah, everybody having sex.
Yeah, everybody having sex.
But we are sluts for smut, so once we get to that sex part, it's yeah.
Always.
Well, maybe not.
We'll start off. It's Mira Callahan, and she is a werewolf.
Shifter.
Werewolf. Yeah. And she leads a shitty pack life, apparently.
Yep. Because her father tried to kill the alpha, so she was basically the punching bag of the whole whatever it's called.
The pack.
Thank you, pack. Yeah.
That one was definitely. She took a lot of beatings, and it wasn't even her fault. She was taking a lot of beatings due to the fact of her father's misfortunes, or due to the fact of the father's what did I say? Due to the fact of the father's aggressions? Is that how a good way to say it?
Sins of the father will be weighed upon the daughter. That's the way that works.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they would torment her throughout most of the book.
Yes, werewolves.
Yes.
Wolves of the were variety. They transform from human to actual wolves.
Yeah.
Not the half wolf. Well,
But
yeah, not the half.
they couldn't just jump right into being a werewolf.
No, there was an age limit put on it. You couldn't do it. You couldn't make your first shift until you were 22.
Till your first solstice moon on the 22nd birthday.
Per the Shadow Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the
Shadow Beast. Who is their god. He is the god and the devil and the everything all rolled into one, the Shadow Beast.
Mm-hmm.
And on Mira's 22nd birthday, she shifts and finds her soulmate, who happens to be the Alpha's son, who she despises. And he rejects her, and she goes into this dark, kind of shadowy place and reaches out and she touches something and it runs away, and she's like, that's weird. And then she comes out of it and she screams and everybody freezes.
So there's a whole bunch leading up to that, though. Because remember, she had told Simone, which is her best friend, that she couldn't take it any longer. And there was this big catalyst to where she said, I gotta get away from this. And Simone, her best friend, said, no, you can't. You gotta stay here with me. And she looked at her and said, I promise. And then the next day she completely books it. Because at this point, nobody can even leave the pack without the permission of the Alpha. Victor.
Yeah.
And when she got away, it comes into the next chapter. She's really happy in this small little quaint town, and it reminded her of home, and she was a waitress, and she had herself a little cabin in the woods. She was making it all better for herself, so she was starting to get a leg up in her life, and then she was able to stay under the radar, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody comes in and says that, hey, your sister was just here, or your best friend was just here. She's like, no, no, but okay. And she just took it on to sense with it. Now, you read the book. Was it just me, or did anybody else feel that Sissy, which is the protagonist's girlfriend in this whole series, does she remind you of like the mean girl, the blonde mean girl?
You talking about Regina George?
Yep, that's who she reminded me.
Oh yeah, I do get.
We have a name for those people. They're called fucking cherries.
Fucking cherries. Oh, okay.
Fucking cherries. Yeah.
You had to have read the first series that we read to understand that, but that's what we call them. They are fucking cherries.
I feel like we should just still use the same pictures every time.
So she goes and figures out that this girl is the girlfriend of Torin, which is the next to become the Alpha. And Victor has sent her. No, actually, it wasn't her. It was Torin's mother with him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Torin's mother with him, Griselda or something like that, some weird, funky name. And they basically ambushed her as she was trying to leave, and they dragged her back to the castle, and then was leading up to the whole getting ready for the moon and the solstice and everything.
Yeah, where she
Well, somebody read the book.
I took notes.
Obviously, or took hellacious notes.
It's 3 books rolled into one, so you have to kind of.
It's very true.
Stay with it, but
no, it's 3 books. It's 3 whole books that we're doing in one show.
Mm-hmm. My thing was I couldn't put it down. I had to keep reading and finding out, and then Deanne was not very nice to tell me that they're cliffhangers at the end. Every time I got through a book, I was like,
Emerald never tells cliffhangers. I will tell you that there is one, but I will not tell you what it is.
you're right. And then I begged you to tell me a little bit of something. And then you're like, okay, here's this little bit of tidbit information. Just keep going to the other books.
Back to the book. We were to the point where she had reached into the shadow realm, and then she'd come out of it, and everybody was out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which leads to the Shadow Beast coming after her, because apparently she literally reached into the Shadow Realm. And that's where things got a little weird for me, because he comes and, like, saves her. She was tied to Torin's bed, because now he wants to mate with her. But Shadow Beast comes and saves her, and he kills Victor, the alpha, and he takes her through this long corridor of doors into this beautiful, amazing library, which, ladies, I'm sorry, I would love to live in.
Yeah.
And he's a total dick to her the whole time. But then we find out about the Solaris system and all of its many doors and all of this, where you've got, like, the water fairies and the regular fairies and the dust world and the, all these different worlds that lead into this library that you can learn from. And then you go into his world, which is another amazing library.
Did this remind anybody else of, like, a Beauty and the Beast scenario?
Yeah. Straight up, yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't that much of a beast. I mean, he looked like a hot guy with a Scottish brogue until, you pissed him off.
Yeah, until he got mad and turned to Anubis covered in flames.
But, I mean, one could say that she had Stockholm Syndrome, so that's why she fell in love with him.
That's right. Now, we cannot miss the fact that she did have another best friend besides Simone. She did have Danny.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Who was basically like
The
her mom.
Wanderer. Her second mom, the Wanderer. But in the meantime, the Shadow Beast brings her back to Earth and back and to catch these shadows, and he's trying to figure her out, and he's very confused by her, and she's just very put off by him, and she's learning to read the library, and all these different little things are happening, and just nuances of the book.
Okay, all right. So we can't skip the fact about the whole cafeteria thing, where it has all the robots in there, and you tell them what the fuck you want to eat, and they just bring it to you.
Right.
And then we can't pass up the little dude, the Gastier.
Oh yeah.
Gastier.
Yeah.
My favorite quote out of that first book was, "Never waste time on bad books. There are too many amazing stories out there waiting to be discovered." That was my favorite quote from that book.
Yeah.
That is a very good quote, because, I mean, as an avid reader, it is very true.
Emerald got me back into reading, so.
It is true. And then we also get to meet Angel.
Okay.
Angel, yes.
Angel
Malikin.
had the voice of the girl from Constantine for some reason in my head. So, so as I'm reading her dialogue, that's all I heard was the British accent coming out of that mouth and out of the story. It kept me engaged with my, visuals and everything.
Yeah. And it's always weird, like, when I don't know if you ever, like, read a book and then actually listened to it, like, listened to some of it and read some of it. So then, like, when you finally listen to it after actually reading it, you're like, oh, that's not what I thought they would sound like, but I get it,
Disappointment.
Yeah.
No, I've never done I've only ever listened to, like, one book on tape, and it was Pompeii, which is a really good book, but I prefer to just hear them in my head. But yeah, I can see her talking it like the one you're talking about from Constantine.
That's why I'm like, okay, so that's gonna be Sissy, the mean girls, and then we had Angel as the blonde girl from Constantine, and then for some reason Keanu Reeves was the voice for Shadow for me.
No,
Not Gerard Butler, Scottish accent.
I could see that one too.
He's got that Scottish brogue. It's got to be Gerard Butler. I mean, come on.
I did tell Emerald that this would be a really good movie series for them to create.
What about the guy who played James Frazier in Outlander?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a TV show. It's another book series.
It's a book, but it's also a TV series, and it's so good. It's so good.
But it's not smutty enough for the show, but it's a good book series, but it's a good TV show.
Have you read the book, though?
No.
Other things you can do in books.
Because the TV show has some sexy time in it, so I'm wondering if they just dulled it down for the TV show, and the books are way more.
Oh, that's quite possible. I mean, that's quite probable. Diana Gabaldon is like an amazing author.
Yeah.
But our goal is free books, and that one is not free. Good, but it's not free.
This book series, I have to say, was a big roller coaster of emotions. The first book was really much setting up the story of who Mara was, where her background is coming from, why she was kidnapped, and why everybody kind of hated her. It didn't really dig into the whole mommy-daddy issues with her.
They didn't kind of hate her. They fucking hated her.
Okay, well, yeah, they did horribly hate her, especially when they beat her up and stomped her and broke her bones and, all that. I think because I'm coming into the smut world, I think this book was a really great jumping point for me because of the action portion of it. Mm-hmm. Because the first book was more about setting up the whole storyline of, like, another great series. It's not really smutty, but like if you've ever seen the Hunger Games, this is very much how they set it up at the beginning and explain to you what's going on. That's how this was set up.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, it was really good. I think it was a good first stepping. Although I got to tell you, getting that message the first day about so this is bestiality. No, there's no bestiality in this.
I had to see that because that's what I was leading up to. I'm like, well, why are they talking about their shifters? And then into the final part of the first book, it does say none of that. It says we don't do anything like that. It does happen, but we don't do that over here. Mm-hmm. I did ask Emerald about this a week ago when I was first reading the first book. Was really we're reading bestiality, huh? She's like, no, you've
just
never
Shadow Beast shifter.
No bestiality in this book, but it was funny to read.
It was funny to get my comments.
Yeah. All right, so we need to segue our way into book 2 because we're gonna run out of time.
Okay, so book 2. We go back to Mora and
cliffhanger. Book 1.
So book 1 wraps up with very much of explaining, starting to get into the realm of her starting to like Shadow Beast and starting to be able to trust him a little bit more, and then it crashes you right there at the end where you wanted it to be like, this is great, what next? And then you got to wait for the next series to come out, or the next book to come out. The next one that came out was Reclaimed. So what happened at the end of the first book, or is that the second book? When did she go back to Torin?
2.
Book 2. Okay, so the first book was very much...
No, end of book 1.
Book 2.
End of book 1. She was put back with her... No, because they didn't know who Danny was yet.
Book 2, they go back to Torin. She goes back to Torin because that's all of book 3.
Yep. Yeah. See? There's a lot of stuff going on in books.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff going on in these books. Book Hold on. Hold, please.
Yeah, book 2 is the war with fucking Danny, isn't it?
No, that was 3.
That was 3.
The war is 3. Book 2 is actually going and meeting the other worlds. She's allowed to wander because they're starting to collect her creatures that she had actually gone out and done. They meet one of his old time friends that he trusted because he was trying to sneak into his world, the Shadow Realm.
Got it.
And he was trying to sneak into the Shadow Realm.
Thank you.
So, in the end of book 1, they are at the school because she went back to Torin. Her and Simone snuck into the school to find, because there's a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
The Beta's father is talking about how they got all of the intel that they got to kidnap her from the Shadow Beast, from the Wanderer, who happens to be Danny. Mm-hmm. We find out that Danny died, and Shadow Beast had told Mira that she was okay. So now she's thinking in her head that Danny died because of the Shadow Beast. She loses her almost shit, turns into a flaming wolfy-like beast herself.
That's book 3.
When the Shadow Beast shows up, it says, the devil has finally arrived, and he wasn't alone. With the fire of 1,000,000 avenging angels riding on my skin, flames dancing high above my body, I stepped off the edge of the platform. Simone's screams rang in my ears, and I fell. It was like stepping off one small rock as I gracefully hit the ground, straightening to come face to face with the devil, who we wore twin flames, and his expression was hollow. Was a hollow portal of death. Our eyes met. I let a slow smile cross my face because besides Shadow, Lucian cleared his throat, but he appeared too unsure to speak. Reese as well, because they saw the truth of what was happening here. There was a new terror awaiting in the wings for Shadow, a terror he had never seen coming. Me.
So, we just totally skipped over the whole seductive part with her wearing the red dress in the fireplace and meeting the best friends. That to me was super interesting because she was trying to figure everybody out and playing the cat minds, or like the cat and mouse games.
Cat minds?
Yeah.
Cat minds. All right. Cat minds.
You know, each their own.
So he has 5 best friends. Lucian, who is a elf. Reese from the desert lands.
No, Lynn is the elf. Lucian is the vampire.
Lucian is a vampire. You are correct. Lynn is the elf. Reese is from the Shadowlands.
Alistair is the one that has mind controls.
Yeah.
And then the one that's...
He's the water. And then there's another guy. There's another elf guy.
It starts with a G, right?
I can't ever say his name. But yes.
It's Galololo.
Galololo. Yeah. Galololo. Yes. His 5 best friends. They have lived hundreds and hundreds of lives together.
Mm-hmm. And they're sitting in the fireplace after she has been finally able to shower and get comfortable and everything. And they're sitting in the fireplace, and he told her to go get dressed. And I want this magic wardrobe.
Yes.
Right?
There's a magic wardrobe in her lair that will automatically pick the correct clothes. Thank you, sir.
Busted.
So there's this wardrobe that he tells her to go get dressed in. It will produce any of the clothes that you will ever need, and it's always the perfect fit, the perfect color, the perfect size, everything from the shoes to the shirts and jackets.
I want it.
And I do too.
I want it.
He put different dresses in there for her to choose that he really wanted her to wear. And then he tossed in a curveball, which was this red dress that's low cut and some high heels. And she doesn't normally wear red because her hair is flaming red. it's more of an amber color or an ombre color because it's dark red at the top and goes real light at the bottom. And then she wore it because he had ticked her off at some point in time. So he had...
That's their whole relationship at this point.
Yeah.
This is true. But he had really made her mad because he had said, you will come to dinner. Very much like Beast did to Belle.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes to dinner, and then she comes in, and everybody just starts gawking at her, and all the guys come up and hug her and give her a kiss on the cheek, and Shadow's in the background growling and rumbling because he doesn't like anybody else touching his property, because that's what she is property at that point in time. Not an actual person, but a piece of property at that time. And there's a lot of banter going back and forth about who each one is and when are we going to have dinner, and then he gets mad about it.
And they never eat dinner.
Nope. She goes to bed hungry.
He's the only one that eats, but
she goes to bed hungry certain
A
ways.
lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's also funny because in the later book, she found out that he planted that dress.
Yep. Because red is his favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
But he never expected her to wear it that night.
No, and she fucking did. I was like, of course she did.
Yep.
Because that's just who she is. She's one of those, like, I want to do what I want. I'm fucking grown. I'm going to do what I want.
Well, she tormented her
Yeah.
her whole life, so she had to take the beatings, and she didn't allow nobody to step on her and didn't let nobody walk on her, so she purposely did stuff like that. She was very outspoken, and he often called her the smart ass of the group. And then at that point is when the Sunshine coming out as her nickname. We don't find out that the reason why she didn't like the nickname Sunshine is because her father used to call her Sunny, and that was too close for her to take it.
Calm your tits, Ruben.
Calm your tits, Ruben.
Big time, sir.
So in book 2, at the end of book 1, she becomes the Shadow Beast Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And she supposedly blows the door frame off and lets him into his shadow world, which he has been banned from for thousands of years. She finds a door into it, but when they get back, they find that the shadow door is unlocked. So now it's time to journey to the center of the shadow world.
See, and this is where it gets fuzzy for me, is when it actually cuts to when they all wake up and lose their memories. Because there's a big old, 2 or 3 chapters of him and her trying to figure out where her whole time frame went to.
That's book 3.
That's book 3?
We're on book 2. Book 2 is where they go into the shadow world, because now he has to sneak over to where his family is, because he knows who kicked him out and who took his powers and who he has to fight.
That's when they get stuck in that castle, and then there's that ritual that goes on. Everybody's fucking, and they're like, "No."
Yeah, book 2 is where they first start with the actual porno stuff, because he has to save her by going down on her. Otherwise, she was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the fairyland. Yep.
Yep. Because they had set him up on the. We're missing a whole bunch of stuff, but the most important parts are what you're hearing right now.
You don't have to hit every part. We just have to give them little teasers.
See, and then he apparently went down on her for hours on end just so she wouldn't die.
I think that was book 1, wasn't it?
No,
Is that book 2? Oh, okay.
I thought it was book 2.
I don't know. But anyway, so they enter into the shadow realm, and he has to find his sister, who is the one that did this to him. And they're going here, and they're going there. An angel is with them, otherwise known as Malelekin. She's the angel with the wings.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going through. And this is where he finds his mate.
Mm-hmm.
Ixiana, whatever. Bitch from hell. Ice Queen.
Ice Queen.
We have to take a commercial break.
Commercial break now.
Right.
Yeah, we just didn't want to do it when Ruben told us to do it because, Ruben is not the man.
We'll be right back.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Scary coffee.
So
Yeah,
scary.
we have never tried that yet. We're excited about it.
All right. So
We fight about coffee?
I'm always excited about coffee.
Oh, excited about coffee. I thought you said we fight about it. I'm like, we never fight about coffee.
No, I'm fighting about coffee.
All
Book
right.
2. Okay. Go, Kitty.
I swear to God, like I don't really remember other than like the whole battle scene. I remember them getting in the fight with Danny, like her actually finding out that she is a shadow creature. Whatever. What do you want to call her? What would you call her?
See, but before then, they get to where Ixame is because they have to go through all this bullshit and all this stuff. And they get to where Ixiana, whatever is the
Ice Queen.
Oh, Shadow
Ice
Beast,
Queen.
actual mate.
Yes. And of course, Mira is all kinds of fucking jealous because they've been fucking along the way. And so she's like, and whatever. And then she gets convinced to go out because now she knows that she can control the beast. So now they have to go out to the Nexus, and they all go out to the Nexus. I did not see it. I just saw tits. I'm super excited because that's all I saw.
Ruben.
So as I was saying,
he's enjoying the show.
They all go through the last section of the Greylands, as it's called, to find the Nexus, and she gathers all of the beasts on the way to the Nexus. And they get to the Nexus, and she walks inside, and she's blocked off from everybody else, only to find Danny.
Yeah. Okay. First of all,
still alive.
Danny is a big important part of this because come to find out, Danny is the mother of Shadow Beast.
Yeah. But we also cannot knock off Inky
or Midnight.
Oh yes, Inky and Midnight.
So along the way, there are these things called bonds, and they tie their souls together, basically. So a true mate has one, and then each one of these mists have one to their prospective people. But Angel, along the way, gives one to an immortal person that their group has been told to never do that ever. And in book 3, that kind of explains why you should never do that. But she does, and their bond is starting to grow. When everything kind of goes awry and goes downhill in the last chapter of book 2, when everybody loses their memory. I think that's a little bit after they start fighting. Next month, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think so.
So the Ice Queen turns out
I think Angel gives her like her bond to Mira, like
halfway.
Book 1.
Book 1, and then like Inky and Midnight are like these mists that Inky is attached to the Shadow Beast. So it's basically like his cognitive like functions like outside of his body, I would guess you would say.
Yeah, so Inky, like the shadow world is made of one mist down below and one mist up above. And Inky is made of the mist from below, and Midnight is made of the mist from below. And they don't get along, but these two pieces. So when Shadow Beast was kicked out of the shadow world, he was trying so hard to hold on to it that he ripped a portion of the mist out, which ended up being Inky. And Inky, which was not named Inky until Mira got a hold of it, bonded with him. And then when Mira threw her temper tantrum and opened up the shadow world, this big piece of mist came out and she sent it back in, and he was like, "You'll see me again." And then he came to her and he bonded with her, and she named him Midnight.
I think she was in her lair at that time. Because she had just walked away.
His lair.
Because she had just walked into the lair at one point in time because she was getting ready to sleep or something like that. Or they just had one of the big sex scenes, and then they had to shower and everything, and because that's what you do, I guess.
Yeah, was it that?
And
it was something. Who knows? It was something, but she bonded with him. So then they go, and we find out that Danny is Shadow's mom.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because I get a text message saying, "Danny is Shadow's mom. Oh my god." And then
both of us actually.
2 days later, I get another text message, Danny is Shadow's mom. Oh my god. And I'm like,
all right, so who texted you first?
I think
you did. And then 2 days later, she got me, and I'm like,
and then I've been getting her quite a bit after that. I'm like, what do you mean?
I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
And then somebody let loose that somebody else dies.
That would be her, because I did not tell you anything about it. She did it.
Sorry.
and then I messaged her Emerald today. I'm like, Angel dies. She's like, oh yeah, that that happens.
So they battle, and they meet Danny, and then Ixiyama disappears with all of the beasts, which is draining on Mira.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's now bonded with them, so she has to go and find them, which means they have to go to the castle, which means they have to fight all these people. And she finally finds them in this lava formation where Ixiyama is literally pushing them in to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And the Shadow Beast comes down. There's a huge fight, and there's this big... They find out that Lynn's gem, family gem that is missing, that's a big thing, Ixiyama has... And then they find out, like, Danny comes down, Danny, who is a phoenix bird.
She's a phoenix because she's born with the Nexus, and the Nexus is like the core, the molten core that controls the whole Shadow Realm. And we find out as well as that Mira is also born of the Nexus. So that's why the fire, when she gets touched by Shadow, it does nothing to her.
Mm-hmm.
They found out that we are from the same place because remember before the big fight, what's her name? Danny pulls her son, Shadow Beast, Mira, Angel, and the other brother and the Ice Queen to drink from the Jello type water.
Yeah.
So they can regain their energy before moving out to battle the sister, who turns out to actually be dead already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we find out that Danny destroyed Mira's original form, which is why she had to put her in a wolf shifter. So that wasn't her actually, that was her now form. She did form with the wolf, and she did have those two parts, but she shouldn't have been that person. But that's why she was able to leave the Nexus, whereas Danny was not able to leave the Nexus for long periods of time. So then this big battle scene where Shadow is fighting Ixiyama, whatever her name is, and all of these different things are going on, and then Mira goes to reach for the gem because she knows that the gem is the problem. We have to get rid of the gem, and Danny flies down and eats it. And disappears.
Mm-hmm.
And they pause on that emerald. That was great. You just held it and then released it.
And she disappears.
It was good.
Spirit fingers.
All dramatics. So then, all is well. They win, right? Right? No. No.
'cause they thought it was over.
So Shadow goes up to take care of his people, and he opens up a portal so that Mira can take her people to the Nexus area so that they're safe. And as she's ushering them through, after the last person goes through, she goes back to the Nexus to make sure, see maybe if Danny's there, maybe if she, whatever, wants to talk to her, blah, blah, blah. She goes up and she talks to Danny, and Danny is now loco en la cabeza. She's fucking crazy.
Or she's power crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's thinking, you're going to steal my power. You are unbalancing the world. You can't be here, but I still love you because you're my adopted daughter, and I can't kill you. So I'm just going to wipe your memories, wipe everybody's memory, and I'm going to send you away, and you're going to wake up in your hometown, and that's, boom, we're done.
I'm going to send you back
to cliffhanger
and make you relive your shitty fucking life.
But think of it this way. Aren't they technically more like sisters versus like mother-daughter relationship because they're born from the same place? Because they're both from the Nexus.
Well, yeah, but like her mom...
but growing up, she treated her like a mom.
Yeah.
So this brings more Alabama into it because now, if you think about it, if you think about
their tree only has one branch.
That's it. Because Shadow Beast is made out of the same Nexus as Mira is, and just like Danny is.
Yes, dang cliffhangers. I'm telling you. Book 1 and Book 2 had the absolute worst cliffhangers. And anybody that knows me knows that I don't fucking do cliffhangers. I fucking hate them. I'm so glad I had Book 3 to pick up. Like, after Book 1, I had Book 2 to pick up right away. Because, like, fuck you and your cliffhangers. And then after Book 2, I had Book 3 to pick up right away. Because, again, fuck you and your cliffhangers. And then, like, I was going to be super pissed off if Book 3 had a cliffhanger. Like,
very much, Lindsay. Very straight.
No, because after Book 3, it goes into Angel's point of view. And, like, I'm just...
So I reached out to Emerald.
But I didn't know that at the time.
I reached out to Emerald at the beginning. I read the first book. I said, tell me it's worth reading the other 2 books. Because now she's on, like, a whole different series. So she's already been
read them all, like, 3 weeks ago.
Uh-huh. So I asked her, I said, please tell me, is it worth to read the next 2 books after this? And she's like, yeah, it closes gaps. I said, are they also cliffhangers? Yeah. I said happily ever after. She goes, no, I wouldn't say happily ever after.
Oh, man.
Yes.
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong. However.
But our next 3 books are, like, in the same series, but they're also...
different subdivisions off of them.
Yeah.
Yes, they are different subdivisions off the book. They're different. There's the same book. It's the same storyline because I have read them. I know you guys have not. So I can tell you that. I can tell you that they are still the same storyline. It still goes along with Mira's story. It's just in different perspectives.
To me, it feels very much like the Terminator series, where it's been made this way, made that way, but goes here back with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the middle of everything again.
Yeah.
Let's just say this tree has a lot of branches, and they all kind of come up back and around.
Obviously, more cliffhangers.
Everybody's related?
No, they're not related. The books are, but the people inside of it are not. But it's a good series. So then we go...
Before we finish, we're going to take another commercial break. We'll be right back.
And then we cover Book 3. So we have Chronic Sports tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We have my brain completely he just threw me for a loop.
Thursday night we have the horror show.
Ruben and his exclamation points. I lost it. Okay. Thursday we have the horror. The horror show. Buzzkill. Ruben, I swear to gosh. And then I believe, now don't quote me on this, y'all, but I believe this Saturday is going to be our first, I got a thumbs up, is going to be our first Hellfire Lounge.
Yes.
And eventually, sometime here in the near future, I don't know when, we are going to have our caffeine injection show.
Thursday morning. Caffeine injection.
Thursday morning.
This
so
Thursday?
We don't know when it's going to start.
Mm-hmm.
This Thursday?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. All right.
Thursday,
So,
start caffeine injection.
That's 11 a.m.,
So,
right?
Chronic Sports,
Eastern Standard Time.
Buzzkill, Thursday night, caffeine injection, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Whew. Good luck to y'all. And then our lovely, much awaited Hellfire Lounge on Saturday.
Yep.
Where everybody will be, and it's going to be a free-for-all.
It's going to be interesting.
Hellfire Lounge is going to be interesting. We are all going to be there. We are all going to be talking. It's going to be a free-for-all.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Me either. All right, so book 3. Let's get going because we're running out of time.
But these are really good books.
What happens in book 3?
A lot happens in book 3. She finds out that Shadow has taken up on his word about destroying the world because now he can't remember Mira because she wakes up. The book starts out as she wakes up in Torrin's bed, freaked out because she's just in her panties and a bra.
Yeah. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, she was very mad about that. I don't blame her because he tormented the hell out of her.
I was mad about that.
Kitty was very mad about that. You should have seen the text messages I got the day after when she read that. Kitty was very mad about that.
I was pissed.
So she wakes up in the bed and he's rubbing on her back and everything, trying to be sensual. And he already said to her, I guess, at some point in time that they're going to take it slow. Even though he had rejected the true mate status of themselves, he realized that he was dumb and to be more powerful, he has to be with his true mate. That's not what his groin was saying, but that's what his head was saying. Because he was still messing around with Sissy. That sounded wrong.
That shit was stupid.
That's what this head was saying, not this head, but this head was saying it. Yeah, I got you.
We come to find out that Victor had died in the first book because Shadow snapped his fingers and he caught to flames and died. His son is Torrin, so that automatically makes him the alpha male of the group. Then his best friend Jax was Mira's best friend growing up until the whole father being stupid thing happened, trying to attack the person. The head, yeah. Maybe it gets what it wants sometimes.
Selena Gomez reference?
Nope, I'm sure that's not what that means.
Selena Gomez song.
All right, keep going. We've got 10 minutes.
Okay,
tell us the story.
So, she doesn't realize how long the time has passed. She has felt some weirdness going on. She starts going around and asking everybody. Her best friend Simone has vanished out of nowhere. Which in the second book we left off, she was left inside the knowledge.
In the fucking Solaris system.
Yes, she was left inside.
She's a vampire.
The library of knowledge with a vampire. Which they don't touch on topic what happens with them, but I'm sure it will. So then we speed up things a little bit more. She starts digging and she walks past where Danny's bookstore used to be, and she feels a draw to it. So she has been asking a lot of questions, and the townsfolk are like, oh yeah, you just woke up because we were all in this stasis because everybody was in trouble because Victor. So everybody lost at least 2 months. However, come to find out, they lost 2 years and 2 months when they actually understand what's going on. She starts investigating and she meets a new friend. She is a teacher that just got transplanted from another pack into here. While this is all going on, we find out that Shadow Beast has destroyed worlds because he can't understand what is missing, because some part of him is missing. Because Danny not only destroyed Mira's knowledge of him, but he destroyed anybody that knew Mira as what she was in the Shadow Realm and as what she was in the book, or the knowledge, the library knowledge. Going faster, yes. Calm down.
Hey, if we go over a little bit, we go over a little bit. It's okay. Cool your tits, Ruben. Cool your tits.
So, come to find out, Mira starts tracking down information and figures out something. This substitute teacher pulls her aside and says, hey, I found Sammy. That's it. Sammy. Thank you. She finds out that there's this place in the theater room that has been burnt, and she has no idea. She has no idea what happened. Then, come to find out, Sammy and Mira turn into a wolf to understand what is going on. Please tell me if this is fast enough for you. Then
slow it down just a little bit more so he can understand it.
Okay, a little bit more. Okay. So then what happens next is Mira smells something that she knew, but she didn't know that she knew. And it was
it's the hand signals for me.
Yeah.
Hand signals. So they open up a portal and they walk through a portal because Mira screams at a wall, or she does her howl at the wall, and it opens up a portal. The Sammy and Mira, while still in their wolf form, go into it, and Mira basically is head shaking, don't follow me, but here comes Sammy right behind her. Then they end up in the Library of Knowledge, but the Library of Knowledge is not what it used to look like. It's been destroyed.
Yeah, it's destroyed.
Because Shadow Beast was so upset because he had no idea what he had missed. He was searching. He destroyed the books. He destroyed many worlds like he had told her he would, just to find her.
Yeah.
Moving forward, she is...
Her and Sam are walking around the fucking...
Right, and then
Gaston.
Not Gaston.
They find the little guy.
The little guy.
Who remembers her?
He starts to help her understand what's going on a little bit, but she wants to understand where all her memories are from. So they build this circle, and she lays down in the circle, and it takes hours for them to unlock what Danny had done to her. So from there, then she starts understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
And she starts to walk around the library and notices everything is still really messed up. So she finds the lair of the Shadow Beast, and she goes inside of it. But nobody else could follow her because it has this protective layer where it was only allowed to be her and him unless it was the other 5 people. So there's a lot to cover still. This is just...
And then he throws a temper tantrum and kicks her out, and she has to go back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
They do it!
He dicks her down, and then they understand who he is, and now he just is possessive as mine. Everything is mine. She is not Mira, it's mine. Then they explain to each other what's going on and kind of brings the memories back up. And from there, they kind of grab their merry men, start wandering back in, and he starts to rebuild the Nexus. Not the Nexus. He starts to rebuild the Library of Knowledge because he's the creator of it.
Yep. He rebuilds the Library of Knowledge, and then they all start meeting constantly to see how they're going to defeat Danny.
Yep. Now we have to cut this really short because we are running out of time. So they do go back into the Shadow World to fight Danny. Now here's the fun part. When they go back to fight Danny, Mira dies.
Yes.
Because they practice this cage thing and she realizes that there's a little hole in it, so she touches it and it drains all of her and she dies. And the Shadow Beast loses his shit again.
Twice.
What?
That was the second time. They did it one time, she bust out, and then they fought her again, did it again.
This girl is accident prone. She has died everywhere.
She cannot do it. So then she comes back to life and she's floating. She sees all these things because they're underwater, and she's all these animals and she's talking to everybody, and she realizes she has to get back to the Shadow Beast. So she goes back to the Shadow Beast, calms his shit down, and Danny breaks loose. So now they have to save Danny. But in the process of trying to fight Danny, Angel dies.
Yes. Oh my God. I don't know about you guys, but I teared up at that point.
I cried when she came back.
Well, I
cried when she died. When they were like, she's back, I was like.
So even though I was prepared that she was gonna die, I wasn't prepared for when she was gonna die, though.
Yeah.
Somebody had told me she was gonna die. So
they do win against Danny. They did lose Angel.
Mm-hmm. But
Angel does come back, and she's rebuilt just like everybody. Like, she is now from the Nexus, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. She's part Nexus, so she lost her heavenly glow. She lost her heavenly guardian angel wings, and now she has these phoenix wings that are bright red, just the same color as Mira's in the whole book.
But Mira, when she died, she lost her wolf, but now her wolf comes out as in her fire.
Right. So
with wings.
Shadow Beast's ultimate form is Anubis, and her ultimate form is this combination hybrid between humanoid, werewolf, and phoenix. So it's really curious to kind of think what that looks like.
It is. It really is. It's weird.
And then Angels.
Wings.
And then Angel's form transformed into with her wings.
So we come to the end, and in the end, Shadow Beast has finally admitted to Mira that he loves her. He would never use those words because those are very much human words and not meant to be tossed around like it is. But he calls her true mate, and he calls her his, mine, possession, 9/10 of the law thing sort of going on. But it turns out to have a good, happy ending almost, because she does come back, and Angel does show the love. Everybody died. Everybody came back.
We missed the whole scene of them eating chocolate. But
I was going to say that. Oh, but I was like, they don't know what that means.
I know.
So Angel, most of them don't eat.
Yeah,
but they do get Angel now that she is more human, or now that she is human. They order every form of chocolate possible, and they get everybody to eat some form of chocolate. And Angel is in love with chocolate.
Okay, so my favorite quote from the whole series, the whole 3 sections, was that the book of your radar. No. Never waste time on bad books. Too many amazing stories out there waiting to be discovered. That was my favorite out of all of them. I mean, yeah, there's, those piddly ones, but that's the one that really stuck out at me.
I didn't really have a favorite. I think I read them so fast that I didn't really choose a favorite. I liked all of it as a whole. But as a virgin paranormal romance person, what did you think of the start, your first introduction?
So to me, this was really good because I'm more of the horror novel, the action, the thriller, the crime novels, those sort of books. This kept me intrigued because it wasn't every other page was he was slobbing me down, he was doing everything, this and that, the other thing. It was more of the substance of the book that actually kept me interested in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good series. It is. So next week we are doing the last 3 books of the Shadow Shifter or Shadow Beast Shifter series. No, not next week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we are doing the last 3 books in the Shadow Beast Shifter series. That'll give these 2 time to read it, as well as Miss Nixie.
March 12th is our next show.
Yeah, what she said. So, everybody, tune in tomorrow for Chronic Sports. Tune in Thursday morning for Caffeine Injection. Tune in Thursday night for Buzzkill Cinema. And everybody tune in on Saturday for Hellfire Lounge. I cannot wait. We love you, our slut puppies. Mwah. Good night.
Good night.